Hejsa. Today I'm going to do something I've not done before and I'm not sure it's going to work. So I've had this sweater for a few years and I like it, apart from one thing, that it's a sweater. I really like the colors, I really like the pattern on it, but it just doesn't feel comfortable in its current state. So what I've decided to do is to try and turn it into a cardigan. Because I think I'm more of a cardigan person than a sweater person. So yep, I've done this before, but I reckon it's a bit like if you knit something, you want to make a cardigan and you have to steek it, which I've never done. So, but I sort of have the concept of how it works. So I've tried it on and I decided that I, as well as just opening it up, I also want to make the neckline a bit deeper. I might even widen it a little bit, because this is actually quite tight. It only just fits over my head. So I tried it on and decided how low I want the neckline to be. And I guess the next step is to find out where the middle is and then stitch 2 lines alongside that. I'm not entirely sure how far from that line I will draw I need to do the stitching. I do have this lace ribbon that I'm either going to just sew on the front, but I'm leaning towards sewing it on, like, well, actually let's just do it on the sleeve, that's a bit easier. So that it will sit something like this. Actually, yeah, I think that would look nicer than having the whole thing on the front, because I don't want this to sort of scream that I have altered this. Not that I care if people realize that it's been altered, but you know, I don't want this to take focus. I just want it to seem like that's always been there. So yeah, I think if I stitch it on like that, but I want that sew line to be hidden. So let's just measure this. It's always so annoying, this metal end on a measuring tape, that it's never quite precise. Right, let's measure it from 10 instead. Alright, so at the narrowest point, which is there, it is about 2.3 centimeters. So that means I'll need to do the sew line 1.1 centimeter or something like that. What would that be in inches? So 1 centimeter, and so that's, yeah, just over 3/8 of an inch. So I guess a generous 1/4 of an inch. So I need to find the middle of the front and mark that. So now I've pinned everything down so it's as nice and smooth as I can make it. So now I need to mark this. See if I can do that. I might have to, once I've done this, and then unfold it and maybe do a straight line with a, actually maybe it's better to just do a few spots and then draw it with a quilting ruler. This is uncharted territory, or at least for me it is. If you're a knitter, you've probably done this loads of time, something you knitted yourself. Alright, so that's marked now, and then I need to mark where I put this pin. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do the neckline. I don't want to make it huge, but I think maybe if I just cut off the current neckline, front and back, that would just add a little bit of extra room. It doesn't have to be huge. And then if this comes here straight for a little bit, and then it will come up here, something like that anyway. Alright, I think I'm gonna find a ruler and mark the front. I'll be back in a second. I've drawn that line down the center. I don't know if it shows up on the video, this bright yellow color. And then I've drawn a little template so that I can do the front of the neckline evenly. And I just put the paper down and traced where the old neckline is, and then I drew how I think the new one should be. Okay. Now I can't find my marker. Here we go. Let's draw this on. Do the other side. Maybe I should have pinned down the template, but never mind. Okay. Yeah, I think that will be okay. Yeah. Alright, so now, well, I guess now what I need to do is, so this will be the outer edges. So I'm going to sew about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I should probably mark the back of the neckline as well, just so I know where to sew. If I was just cutting it, then I could just sort of do it by eye, but yeah, if I just cut it off so that it's just below this lining here, or facing, or whatever you want to call it. So maybe I didn't actually need to mark it, but it's better to do it and not need it. Right, so I'm gonna go and sew this on the sewing machine. I'm sorry I can't show that. This is actually the bit that I'm most worried about. I'm not sure how the sewing is going to work on this knitted fabric, but I guess I'll come back and either it's gone horribly wrong or everything is fine and we can carry on. Wish me luck. Okay, no need to worry about the sewing. It was fine. I just took it slowly and tried not to pull at the fabric, so I think this has gone okay. I don't know if you can actually see it. The color is very similar to the fabric. Might be able to see it just here. 2 lines. And I guess now is the point of no return. It's time to cut. Am I going to do it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do it. Got my big fabric scissors. And I'm ready to do it. Alright, here we go. So I'm cutting on that yellow line I drew. And I'm going to try and cut it as precisely as I can. And I'm also going to try not to cut into the back. I may have to sort of fold that out of the way. And this is so tightly knit that I think maybe I could have done it without doing the stitched line, but better safe than sorry, right? Okay. Now this is basically a cardigan. Now I need to add the lace ribbon. And I guess it makes sense to start at one end. While I was cutting this, I was wondering about how to stitch this on. I guess it would be quickest to do it by machine. And if I use a color that matches both the fabric and the lace, then you shouldn't really notice it. Maybe if I sew through here, because then I get almost a straight line that is solely on the lace, and then it won't be visible. Yeah, I think maybe that's what I'll do. Right, so I'm just going to fold under 1/2 inch or so. just going to have it start just a millimeter or two beyond. Yeah, that works. And I'm going to pin it all the way around, which I'm sure you don't need to sit and watch me do. I think that would be quite boring. So I think maybe I'll do that, and I can show you what it looks like before I start sewing it together. I decided it was quicker to use the binding clips. If you want to attempt something like this, when you're pinning or clipping this on, be careful you don't stretch the knitted fabric. And now I'm at the corner here to the neckline, which I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to. I guess I'll have to do it sort of like a mitered corner maybe. But maybe the neckline bit should be on top. So I'm holding it in place at the corner. And then I'm going to pinch down, going in the other direction. And quickly put down there. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Okay, then I just need to pin on or clip on the rest of this lace here. So I've reached the point where the neckline becomes the opening of the cardigan, and it occurred to me that maybe I shouldn't pin it down or clip it down all the way, because the lace ribbon might move a little bit as I'm sewing it down, and then I might end up with a weird bulge here, and I don't really want that. So I think I'm gonna go and sew it all on the sewing machine now, and I guess then we'll have a look at it afterwards. I finished stitching on the ribbon, and I think that it turned out quite well. Maybe I should have used a slightly lighter thread, but never mind. The edges have stretched a little bit while I sewed it, and I thought they might do that, but I'm hoping that if I wash it, then it will sort of scrunch itself together a bit. But even if it doesn't, it's fine. And there was no problem sewing it on. Only a little bit where the shoulder seam, because that was quite thick. But other than that, it was fine. And here in that corner between the opening and the neckline, I double stitched just to make sure that everything stayed in place. And I think I've caught everything on the back as well, so don't have to worry about it coming loose. Now I only have one little task to do, and that is adding the closure. I've already added 1/2 of it. So I bought this little clasp set because I didn't want to have to figure out a way to do buttonholes, and yeah, so this is just to sort of keep it slightly closed. I've sewn on 1/2, and I guess I should sew on the other one. I'm not 100% sure that these are going to be okay in the wash, but I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, if it's not. So I actually wasn't sure how to sew this on, because I didn't really want the threads to be visible on the sort of design of it, but I don't know if you can see, but there are little holes in here that I can use. So that's what I'll use. For some reason I have trouble finding the holes, but I guess they're not very big, so I'm really happy with how this project has turned out. I wasn't 100% sure that it would work, but I think it has. And now I can actually use my sweater, which is now a cardigan, which is really nice. Because I kept seeing it in the wardrobe and just thinking, oh, I wish you were a cardigan. And now it is. And now I can use it. And it's going to be perfect for springtime wear, I think. It's a nice pink colour. Although spring is not quite here yet, but soon. It would be nice to go outside just wearing a cardigan and not a big coat, thick scarf and a hat. It has been quite cold recently. Okay, I think that is all done now. I'm not 100% sure that I've got this clasp exactly where I want it, but I guess if I feel like I need to move it, then I can always do that. Right, that's it. One sweater has now become a cardigan. I am very happy. This is really great. My original plan was not to change the neckline, but I'm glad that I did, both because it will, I guess, fit a little bit better, although it doesn't have to come over my head anymore, but still. And also it just looks like it was meant to be like that. So yeah, I would say that that is a success. I'm very happy. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, whatever you're making.